Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers HC Mike Tomlin offers blunt advice to rookie WR Roman Wilson. Pittsburgh Steelers third-round wide receiver Roman Wilson was finally healthy enough to suit up in Week 3, but in classic Mike Tomlin fashion, the key rookie was inactive when the Steelers took the field to face off against the Los Angeles Chargers. A healthy scratch. On September 24, Tomlin explained what Wilson must do to prove he's ready to make his NFL debut in Week 4, or sometime after if the youngster is inactive once again in Indianapolis. And the Steelers head coach did so in the form of a message. He's just gotta keep working, Tomlin told reporters, regarding Wilson. It is very difficult to get on a moving train, the old-school HC elaborated. Just look at defensive lineman Dean Lowry for example. There's a veteran guy that missed a substantial amount of training camp, and it was the third game before he got an appearance. Although he's been healthy for 3 weeks. And so, that gets multiplied when you're talking about a guy that has no NFL experience like Roman. Finally, Tomlin concluded by stating that his advice to Roman is to keep working. Take that opportunity when that door is left ajar, he added, and be ready when it is. Many assumed that Wilson would just step onto the scene, fresh off a national championship run with Michigan, and take over as the number 2 receiving option in an offense that is notably shallow at the position. When all is said and done, that could still occur. But there are no scholarships inside a Tomlin-run organization. Wilson was beginning to show he belonged just before his injury this summer, impressing during the padless portion of training camp. And then the ankle issue stalled his progress. Now, without a full preseason to earn his stripes, so to speak, it appears Tomlin is taking things slow with Wilson. The question is, how much of a ramp-up period will the rookie need before he rejoins the offense? 1 more week of practices? 2? More? When it comes to a buttoned-up franchise like the Steelers, sometimes all there is to do is wait and find out. In terms of their role inside of Arthur Smith's offense, 2022 fourth-rounder Calvin Austin III and veteran Scotty Miller are the 2 players that appear to be ahead of Wilson on the depth chart as of September 24. Miller only made his Steelers debut in Week 3, but he played a significant number of snaps with Pittsburgh shorthanded at the position. Only 4 wide receivers suited up for the Steelers against the Chargers. Per Pro Football Focus, George Pickens led the way with 50 snaps, out of a potential 68, while Miller was on the field for 38 and Austin was out there for 37. Van Jefferson only played 11 snaps in Week 3 after starting the game alongside Pickens, but he missed a large portion of the outing due to an eye injury. After the game, The Athletic's Mike DeFabua relayed that Jefferson told him that he couldn't see until the 4th quarter. Adding that the wideout thought his cornea may have been scratched after being poked in the eye. With newcomer Ben Skowronek now on the injured reserve, Wilson is the only other wide receiver on the 53-man roster at this time. With Russell Wilson battling through a calf injury, the Pittsburgh Steelers have turned to Justin Fields as their quarterback. That has turned more into a boon than a burden, as Fields has led the Steelers to a perfect 3-0 record. As Pittsburgh prepares for their Week 4 clash against the Indianapolis Colts, head coach Mike Tomlin is expecting Fields to remain under center. He noted that there has been no change in Wilson's injury status or on the team's depth chart to start the week, via Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. As we walk into the building tomorrow, I want Justin singularly focused on starting for us, Tomlin said. Wilson was expected to be the Week 1 starter due to his veteran status. However, an injury wiped that off the table and opened the door for Fields to claim the role. Through the first 3 weeks, Fields has been the Tom Brady to Wilson's Drew Bledsoe. Fields has completed 73.3% of his passes for 518 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He hasn't been as usually explosive with his legs, but the quarterback has still run for 90 yards and a touchdown. He did throw an interception in week and fumbled twice on the 2024 campaign, but Fields has done a solid job limiting mistakes to begin the season. With 17 and 16 interceptions respectively in his final 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears, decision-making was a major red flag on Fields' resume. But at least early, he has been able to clean up the mistakes. The Steelers haven't been blowing teams out, with 20 points being their highest-scoring game thus far. But they're playing a consistent, gritty brand of football that has produced undefeated results. Mike Tomlin isn't going to flip with script with how Justin Fields is performing, especially as Russell Wilson isn't fully healthy. The quarterback controversy will likely last all season in Pittsburgh. But as long as the Steelers are winning, Tomlin will do what's best for the team. Steelers' Alex Highsmith to miss multiple weeks with injury, but there's a catch. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be without edge rusher Alex Highsmith for several weeks due to a groin injury. Trying to improve on their 3-0 record as the injuries pile up won't be easy, though Highsmith should have a good chance at making a return before the regular season concludes. The good news is that, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, Highsmith's injury is not considered major, and he won't need to undergo surgery. The Steelers have their bye week in Week 9, giving Highsmith a chance to return mid-season with a bigger runway. Through the first 3 games of the season, Highsmith tallied 11 combined tackles, 1 sack and 1 pass defended. He ranks 7th on the team in defensive snaps. TJ Watt leads the way for the Steelers' defense and will be relied on even more with Highsmith out, along with Cameron Hayward, Keanu Benton and Larry Ogunjobi. Outside linebacker Jeremiah Moon started the season on the injured reserve but will be eligible to play after Week 4. He and Nick Herbig, a 4th-round pick from the 2023 draft who has 2 sacks this season and 3 last season, will be relied on more. Highsmith missed time with a groin injury during training camp. Per ESPN, he's going to take a look at his off-season work to dodge further issues. Ultimately, I got to look at what I'm doing when it comes to training over the summer and stuff like that, Highsmith said, via ESPN. I work hard and everything I do, I just have to change some things. Justin Fields leading the way on the offense is a feel-good story, but the Steelers' defense is the reason why they're undefeated so far. With matchups against the Indianapolis Colts and Dallas Cowboys on deck, Pittsburgh must figure out different ways to get pressure on the quarterback. Steelers RB dealing with new injury. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Jaylen Warren's season has hit another roadblock, as a knee injury could hamper his chances of playing in their next game. According to head coach Mike Tomlin, Warren didn't look healthy enough to play after the first half, so he was pulled. Jaylen Warren wasn't able to finish there late in the second half, Tomlin said in his press conference. I pulled him from the game. It just didn't look like he was running smoothly. We'll evaluate him. This is a frustrating development for Warren, who was coming off a game against the Denver Broncos where he had 9 rushes for 42 yards. All this comes after a hamstring injury that kept him out for much of the preseason and limited him to just 2 carries for 7 yards in their season opener against the Atlanta Falcons. According to Nick Farabaugh of Penn Live, Warren had an MRI on his knee following the game, signaling that the injury may be worse than previously thought. Farabaugh also remarked that the knee injury has nothing to do with his previous hamstring injury and that Warren would be limited in practice to begin the week. However, nothing concrete is known yet about the severity of his injury. Warren is not the only one suffering from injury in the backfield. Najee Harris suffered an arm injury this past weekend and was seen wearing a sling on his arm on Monday. However, Harris will not have any practice limitations coming into this week. The Steelers will likely to have to rely heavily on the services of Cordarrelle Patterson, who played both wide receiver and running back against the Los Angeles Chargers. With neither running back at full strength, Patterson will have to step up and create plays for the Steelers' offense. In his limited rushes against the Chargers, Patterson had 4 rushes for 33 yards. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jaylen Warren? Leave your opinion in the comments.